Lisa, sorry for waiting so long. What are your thoughts on any of this?
Oh, no, I'm going to tell you. Thank you so much for having me in here. I appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Um, I jumped in at the time y'all were talking about tips, waitresses tips.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about that. I live in Mississippi. The waitresses depend on tips because they're only making $2.75 an hour. They don't get any raises. They don't, and most of them charge their thing on a credit card, and they take that. They at one place they did take up. I had 2 checks in 1 week, one for regular hours, and the other one was for tips. And I'm gonna tell you, it was tough being a waitress because you work 4 to 5 hours and you make $3 in tips, and that's my advice on the waitresses and the bartenders. If claim half your tips, claim half of it. I mean,
are you encouraging them not to report to the IRS?
We can't make it on $2.75 an hour.
Yeah.
And we're going to take $3 home. What, you want to tax me on $3?
I have a response, but Stephen, I want to open up to you if you have any thoughts.
And then,
yeah,
we're also talking about the border. Okay, this is how I feel about the border situation and the immigrants. They should have never opened the border. They should have left it closed, and we wouldn't have all this chaos in this world. You can't even go out in a grocery store or a Walmart without people shooting at each other. And most of them are coming from all these different countries and terrorists and everything. We've had people killed, a girl raped and tortured by Kamala and Joe Biden. Now, I'm upset about that because they took somebody's life. They took away a person to be able to be a mother, a father, an aunt, an uncle, a sister, a brother, daughter. You know what I'm saying? So I think that my advice is I'm not voting Kamala. Ain't no way. Because if you do, for people who decide to vote for Kamala, I want to ask you one question. Do you want to risk losing a family member or a close friend because an immigrant killed them? Was it worth it?
Lisa, can we ask, do you have kids?
I have a 39-year-old son who'll be, yeah, he's grown. He's on his own. But yeah, I have one child in his 30s.
Congratulations. I want to give Stephen the speaking stick, but I do appreciate some of what you said. You know, tips used to like pay my bills for a while when I was bartending, studying for the LSAT. I'm a lawyer now. So I think we both appreciate that servers nowadays, because I know Stephen has some food service experience as well.
Yeah, to be clear, I don't like the tip people. I hate the tip people because I worked hourly wages, and tip people always make better money. The only people I've ever heard that complain about the minimum wage for tip people are people that never worked tip jobs, because servers and everybody that worked for tips always outperformed us. When I worked at McDonald's, I was making $5.25 an hour. Obviously, that's a fast food job. When I worked at the casino, we had a $9 an hour wage, which was higher considerably than the $2.13 one, but it wasn't a tip position, and tip people always outdid us, especially like on Fridays and Saturdays. So the idea that like tip people are only getting $2.13 an hour is not true. They're making at least minimum wage. Otherwise, the employer has to make up the difference. And oftentimes they're making above minimum wage, especially depending on the days that they work. But
you got to realize
they survive on their tips.
That Mississippi, I'm sorry, I have to say this.
Yes, go ahead.
Mississippi is the poorest state. We're number 1 in the poorest state in the world. In the entire USA, we are the number 1 poverty. And
Yeah.
we have, I'm sure that y'all heard all about it, Mr. Brett Favre with the welfare. And he says he didn't.
I haven't heard about that. Could you tell us about that?
Brett Favre evidently got this program started with the governor at the time. They had a group of them that was doing a fundraiser to do feed the children for summer, who can't afford.
Because there's a lot of need in Mississippi, is what you're saying, right? It's the poorest state. It's having a lot of problems. Fair?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
What do you think?
No
What do you think are some of the biggest problems facing Mississippi?
The biggest problems facing Mississippi right now
Yeah.
is jobs. There's no jobs here. You have to travel. My husband, example, for 11 years, he's been working for a rigging company that digs with offshore rigs. He was making real good money. 2 hours. An hour there and an hour back home. He had to drive that every day. He said, I'm getting tired of it. So what they did was they set him up his own room. That way he could stay there for a week. So my husband was gone for a week, home 2 days, and back again. Then they cut the hours. He was making $28.50 an hour. They knocked him down to $18.50 an hour. And he said all that he had to buy food for the house. He had to buy food for him for the whole week. It wasn't worth it. You have to travel at least an hour or 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, just to go get a job.
To bring jobs back or to do good things in Mississippi, what do you think is like something that Mississippi needs to work on?
First of all, they need to work on a governor.
Yeah, but I mean, not necessarily like elected positions. I mean, like, what are some things that like Mississippi needs to do?
They need to build businesses here, like Amazon warehouses being built in about 30 minutes from us.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that?
Why couldn't they bring that warehouse over to Mississippi?
Sure.
And
Do you think that Mississippi, being like one of the least educated states in the country, is significantly hampering?
Oh, definitely. We have not. The education is. The teachers have to be scared because a student shot another student.
So do you think? Isn't this a form of government intervention that we need? We need like probably more spending on schools in Mississippi. Like, isn't that a thing that the government probably has to do?
To help.
I think, yeah. The schools, I think the teachers do deserve to make more than what they are making. I'm not sure what they're making now, but.
Sure. So if I were to look up in Mississippi, because I don't know, I'm being honest, I don't know. But if I were to look up like the governor's stance or any of your mayor's stances on like expanding payment for teachers or how they feel about like the teachers union or whatever, do you think these are going to be positive statements or negative statements?
I think it's going to be negative.
Uh-huh.
But let's get back to the Brett Favre situation.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be donating to support Feed the Children during the summer program. Tate Reeves turned it down.
Well, okay. I would think that's so Brett Favre, to the extent that he's making an effort, I just want to say real quick.
Brett Favre did participate in that money.
Yeah, no, that's a great initiative. Lisa, can you hear me? I want to speak on that because I just want to isolate this specific issue because I think that childhood hunger is horrible. We should not be in the richest country in the world, in the shining city upon a hill, to quote a phrase. That should not happen in America, and that's why I support the Biden administration and Kamala Harris's expansion of the child tax credit. Which, Stephen, is this correct that it like reduced childhood
Poverty by like 52%.
Poverty by some huge amount, and childhood hunger. I mean, that those are great things that the government can do. Brett Favre is just one guy, right? He was I don't know if he won any actual Super Bowl rings. I don't think he did, right, with Green Bay. But but he, he's one person, and there's only so much that one person can do. But when the federal government gets involved and takes a direct step to alleviate, suffering in states that are not better off for one reason or the other, I think that's a good thing. And that's why I was so disappointed when the House of Representatives under Speaker Mike Johnson refused to continue that and refused to put that into the bills that were being passed, the continuing resolutions.
Well, but this is how Brett was thinking that he was going to give the children food to eat during the summer. Instead, all the money went to his alma mater to build a volleyball court for his daughters. And now he's facing charges.
Oh, Brett Favre is facing charges?
Yeah, because he was scamming the state's donation program, basically. Yeah.
Yes. He was scamming. He was scamming from the welfare department.
Oh, that's horrible. That's why we need people like IRS agents and government workers to catch these bad actors. If he was doing that, that's why I think that, like, governor.
You see.
Sorry, I didn't appreciate
the governor,
that.
He really don't do shit for us. He don't. He's just. During the South, if you're not from the South, you'll understand. But anyway, we fought our Confederate flags. Not all of us, some of us. I'm not a racist person. Okay? I do it because it's a Southern thing. But when Tate said that he was going to keep the flag, we got, he went against and changed the flag. And I mean, there's a lot of things that he's doing in office that Mississippians don't know anything about. We don't know where any of our money is going to. I mean, my husband and I filed taxes in February. We just got them. We just got our state tax last month. Okay, I'll be there in a minute. But anyway, he's just, I don't know how to say it. It's just a miserable state because they don't have anything for these kids to do. And when they do, well, they have water parks. Okay, they got water parks and they got the Margaritaville little amusement park. But the price of things is high. It's $100 to go to the amusement park.
So how is Trump going to make your life better?
Excuse me, I'm sorry, what?
How would Trump make your life better?
Because he would drill and my husband will have a job. He can create, he's going to just do what he did before. I think that, excuse me a second.
Yeah.
Trump will have drillers and my husband can go back to work. Right now, I'm on the verge of losing our house because we're leasing to own it. Okay? Now, because they have no jobs, we can't pay our mortgage. I don't know what we're going to do. But anyway, like I said, I think Trump's going to be good for us because, one, he never took $1 out of his paycheck.
That means he's a good president because he didn't take $1?
He did. I don't know if he didn't take no pay. He don't need to. Kamala and Biden are spending billions overseas and bringing these immigrants in. What do we get for free?
Steve, I don't know if you want to respond to that.
The immigrants are coming in, they're housing them, giving them cars. We don't get anything free, and we're Americans. Trump will stop that. The more that comes in, it's going to get worse. That's why I think that Trump would be a good president, because he can bring up more jobs in the rigging business, offshore people.
Are you aware that, or do you know this to be a fact, or do you think it's untrue, that oil production is at its all-time high under Joe Biden?
Our gas prices here are very high.
Not the price of energy. I'm saying the production, presumably
the production.
Having, yeah.
I don't know about that one.
Okay.
But our gas prices are almost $4 a gallon.
When did was it husband? When did he lose his job?
In May.
Of this year?
Yes.
And he was working in, you said it was offshore oil?
Let's just say this. We drained the 401k to keep my house. We have no backup. There's no jobs here. I don't know what we're going to do, but Trump, when he comes in and he says, drill, baby, drill, they'll be opening back up and he'll be back up making the money he used to. As long as Kamala and Joe are in office, it's not going to happen. It won't happen.
I'm sorry that your family is going through tough times. Thank you for your input.
Thank you.
I think that it's useful to have these conversations. I would encourage you. I think that there's stuff we can learn from each other. I'll pass over some statistics in a private DM to you, but I understand that won't necessarily alleviate your concerns with a lot of the policies. But needless to say, I think that we can have an honest disagreement, and so thank you for your input.
Thank you, hon. Thank you for letting me speak.
Of course.
Y'all all have a good day. I'll be here.
You
I'm
too.
going to be listening.
Okay, I'm going to kick you from the room, but you could please listen. Thank you. Stephen, any reaction before we go to Andrew?
I don't know what the fuck you want me to say. There's two things that are very irritating to me. One is that the stats and the numbers and everything don't matter. Obviously, I think if a person has a bad life disposition, or not disposition, I'm sorry, if they're experiencing bad circumstances, it's tempting to blame one party or feel like they're getting fucked by whoever's in office currently. I can understand that. I can sympathize with that. I guess the second thing that is very annoying is I know it's like a meme point, but the idea that things are happening in the country and like it's probably the immigrants that are to blame is just such a misguided like waste of energy. I don't know her husband's obviously history with oil, or I don't even know if those jobs have decreased in the United States, given that we are like leading in production right now for energy. But maybe it's more natural gas oriented. Just the fixation on like, especially, and I don't know, maybe I'm ignorant of Mississippi, but like, especially like Mississippi being like, yeah, the immigrants are what's destroying our ability to work here. Like, is that really the issue that Mississippi is facing? Is tons of immigrants? Is that why I don't know. I don't even know where to start.
And I would say that that's like a better argument for why we need more federal assistance to places like Mississippi, and why we shouldn't trust the people who, and I guess in her mind, are to blame, which are all like these Republican MAGA supporters who are in charge of state government there. But yeah, let's go to some more disagreement from Andrew. This is Andrew, the real AA Andrew, a carnivore, father, management consultant, and centrist who is MAGA. So please give us your thought.
Thanks, guys. So my wife and I are originally migrants as well. We came here a long time ago, and so
Are you an
I'm
American?
yes,
Okay.
recently at least, French American. So 2019 was our best year. $20 used to go a long way. Real wages went up. And I remember telling my wife when I used to go on Amazon or whatever, it's like crazy what $20 used to do. Fast forward to today, I dropped out of the labor force because we got a kid and we did the math. With me working, we couldn't afford childcare. So it was better for me to drop out of the labor force because of the situation, because of the inflation. Inflation hit us hard. Household, we had to move.
Okay, real quick. I'm sorry, just as a real quick. You
Yeah.
didn't. If you didn't have a kid in 2019 and now you have a
Yeah.
kid and you've got an extra, how is this inflation? It sounds like you have a kid now.
Yeah, it seems like you don't listen. You actively, and in 2019 the prices were way cheaper, right? Everything was way cheaper, and right now in 2019 we used to live in Massachusetts. Our mortgage payment for a similar house has almost doubled, right? We bought a very similar house then when we used to live in Massachusetts. Our mortgage payment is 2.5 times higher for the almost exact same plot, house type, number of bathrooms, etc. It's in the suburb. We live right now 40 minutes away from DC. We used to live away 30 minutes from Boston. Extremely comparable, right? Why? Okay, so if you want to hide behind your fingers and say Kamala's policies are better, you are doing exactly that. Okay, under Trump,
I didn't understand what you said. So wait, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you said. If you want to hide behind the policies with your fingers, could you? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because Trump's policies worked, and we are immigrants, and we're telling you, okay, these policies worked. You guys are making fantastic money. You're out of touch. It's obvious. Okay?
Real quick, how is
And
your
if-
wait? How much is your mortgage on your current house?
So right now our payments, like, it used to be 1,400 including taxes. Now it's like 28 without the taxes. And in our area, you pay to live, you pay the tax beforehand, so it goes up to 28.32. But moving
And
forward,
when did you get this house?
a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
So you're telling me that you bought a house that was twice as expensive under Biden, but you're doing worse?
So it's the same house. That if you go back to 2019, it used to cost just as much as my house in Massachusetts.
Wait, how
But
did you buy the same house? I don't understand.
in terms of specs. And if you go back and look at the house, how much it used to cost beforehand, right? It used to cost similar to our house in Massachusetts.
So I don't understand what you're saying. You moved and you bought a house that
Yeah.
was twice as expensive. The cost or the value of the house has gone up. Sure.
No, it's not twice as expensive. The payment is twice as expensive because we used to pay 2% in interest, and now our mortgage was like 6.5% in interest. So we're paying effectively. I did the math. Like almost everything we're paying more now is going towards the mortgage payment is going towards interest.
And do you blame Biden?
No, stop. The exact same percent is going towards interest, you mean, right?
I mean, listen, we're semantics. I used to pay about $400, $500 before on interest payment, even though when we used to do our taxes, it wouldn't scratch the deductible. Now we're almost going to clear the deductibles in terms of interest payments.
You mean you're going to itemize
yeah.
your taxes based on what was it, an $1,800 or $2,800 a month mortgage payment? You're going to be itemizing your taxes?
I don't think we're gonna hit this, but still we're paying way more than we used to. Right?
Why
So
did you?
these are
If you feel like it was such a ripoff, why did you move?
Well, we have sometimes you don't have a choice, do you? I know you guys are comfortable living where you are.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Hold on. You just said you moved into a place where your payment was twice as much. So I'm sorry, I don't understand.
For jobs, because to get a better job, hopefully.
Wait, I'm sorry. It sounded before like you said you were 40 minutes away and now you're 30 minutes away, or was it to a different type of job or?
Different type of job.
Okay, so you move for work and you bought a house
Yeah.
that was twice the house you had last time. Did you get laid off from your other job or something, or?
Again, let's not go into personal details. That doesn't concern
you're
me.
accusing
Hold on,
us.
no, wait.
Sorry,
You're bringing up
attacking us.
you're bringing up your own life.
No,
so how can we
listen,
not?
guys, listen. I'm telling you my experience. You're not in my shoes.
Yes, but
Okay?
if you're putting it,
You're gonna
right,
bury your head in the sand.
Andrew, come on. Let's. If you're gonna come hard,
Let me finish my story. Listen. You're glorifying
you're not gonna complain, Andrew. You're not gonna complain about us asking questions about your life. If what you're doing is providing a case study, we should be able to analyze it. And especially if you're saying that we're out of touch because we're
This guy's literally moving from Massachusetts to DC, and he's saying that we're out of touch, like he's like some working class. Like, come on,
Southern
dude.
Maryland.
Oh my God.
Southern Maryland. Okay.
Okay, so what we're probing questions because it sounds like there could be other reasons explaining your increase in expenditures or other things that might indicate that maybe
it's horrible. If I told you it's a comparable house, the real estate prices increased, right, because of the supply chain disruption.
Did you move
right?
to a more expensive area? How much?
Nope. It's a neglected area. It's an old farm area that literally all the houses were built in the 60s.
Okay, so it's correct to say that you blame Joe Biden for inflation. Is that fair?
Listen. There are facts.
Fair?
Okay, after when Trump left office, let's agree that inflation was 1.4%.
I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Biden for inflation?
I mean, let's look at the facts, and I'm telling you.
I'm just asking you what your position is. Then you can explain for sure. Do you blame Biden for inflation?
What was the mortgage rate?
I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Biden for inflation?
And I'm telling you to answer with facts. I'm
not answering a question. I'm asking you a question. Do you blame Biden for inflation?
Largely, yes.
Why?
Well, what was my interest rate before in 2000? We bought the house.
Explain that there is higher interest rates.
Hold on. Nothing of what you're saying makes sense. First of all, the federal the Biden can't control the interest rates, right? Do you understand that?
Oh, why did the interest rates go up?
Hold on. You acknowledge that they can't control the interest rates, right?
Why did the interest rates go up?
The Federal Reserve increases interest rates in order to curb inflation.
Okay, thank you. Why was there inflation?
Wait. Well, no, wait. Let's just do this, Train. Where do you think the inflation came from?
I don't know, guys. The APA, American Rescue Plan.
American Rescue Plan from what? The rescue plan from what?
How much money was spent in the past 2 years?
I don't know. Okay, never mind. I understand now. I understand why you lost the last job. You can't answer questions. This is a very easy question. What is the answer? Rescue from what? Rescue from what? Can you say it? Are you even able to say it? Rescue from what?
All that was needed to do post-pandemic.
How do you kick somebody? Kick him. Just kick him. He can't answer questions. He's a fucking retard. Get him out. He's mad because he invested in some retarded crypto. He lost. I'm not scared. You're scared because you can't answer a simple question. You can't answer a question. You're a propagandist. You probably don't even fucking live in this country. Get kicking the fuck out. I don't know how to do it. I would otherwise.
That's what you're scared about. That's what you're scared about.
Kick him out. Get him out.
No. Either you
or wait, can he answer the question? Wait. Can he answer the question? American Rescue from what?
The American Rescue Plan that spent money unnecessarily.
Kick him out. See ya. Later, bitch. See ya, bitch. Later. Do the hand wave thing. See ya, bitch. Yeah, that's right. Wave that hand. Dipshit.
It's disappointing. We're happy to listen to you, and you saw us do it. Listen to you guys talk about your personal experiences and stuff. But when we ask questions about that are meant to drive to a particular place, and you start not answering it, it's super annoying. And the reason we're asking questions is for a reason, because there's absolutely a global inflation crisis that occurred after COVID. And the answer to that question was it was the American Rescue Plan of COVID. But we can't even have a discussion if you're not willing to engage with what we're saying. That said, we are going to move to the next speaker, Kettlebell Dan. All right, Kettlebell Dan. Do you use kettlebell, Stephen?
No.
Okay. We are adding you, Kettlebell Dan. Let us know when you can hear us. Mr. Dan, thoughts on the election, domestic policy stuff? Why do you favor Trump?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me up.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need to pick a fight over Trump versus Kamala. I'll let the other speakers do that. I just wanted to say, Destiny, I think you and I had spoken on a previous space. At one point, I was cursing you out, so I kind of apologize for that. I think it was over the Corey thing and you saying whatever. I won't even get there. But I just wanted to say, this is a cool space. I love the fact that you're having people up, like you just said, you guys are listening to them. and then refuting on the facts. I think that's an awesome usage of this platform. I get a lot of people talking about how it's slanted towards Trump or toward conservatives. So it's great to see on X kind of all the views and open discussion. So yeah, just want to say thanks and appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Who are you going to vote for this election?
Yeah, I don't typically talk to that point.
You don't have public views on.
Oh, go ahead.
You don't have public views on politics?
I try not to make them too public. I like the Robert Greene methodology. If you've read his 48 Laws of Power, 20 is like, don't commit, and there's lots of reasons why. And I think it's important. I feel like if you pick one candidate and say who you're voting for, then, or even pick and decide well ahead, then you wind up pigeonholing yourself into that thinking for all of the different options, like not just the person themselves, the candidate, but everything they stand for. And I would rather be open-minded about each topic in itself and have discussions on each topic. And I feel like once you pick a side, you're almost limited in doing that.
So but it's fair to say you will be voting, right? So you're going to come to some determination, and you do encourage people to vote. Fair?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, if you're just trying to give us some glaze, we'll accept it. Thank you for the comment. We'll take it. And I guess Stephen can decide whether or not he squashed the beef. I don't know what beef that was, but thank you.
Yeah, thanks, appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. We have a retired attorney whose name is, give me a second, Swampist? Or no, not Swampist. Sorry, Swampist. Oh, it looks like they're not being added. So we can add Swampist. Swampist, any thoughts? Mr. Swampist. Why are you guys requesting not being available? Come on. Mojo? Mr. or Mrs. or Mix Mojo? Mojo? How you doing, Mojo? I see you raising your hand. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Sure. Hey, you guys.
How you doing?
I'm good, y'all. I've just been sitting here listening to some things, and I had to take notes, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm in Texas. I can literally, unlike Sarah Palin, see Juarez, Mexico from my backyard. We have spent $11 billion of Texas taxpayer money to make goddamn sure the border ain't closed, right? Number two, the tips issue.
Can we stop right there just to make sure we understand? Because this is really interesting, and I think
yes.
We should have a discussion about what you just said. So, because I thought I heard something that I haven't heard before, that we're spending $11 billion to keep the border open. Do you mean
no.
Sorry.
Texas is spending $11 billion to keep the border not open, to keep the border closed. Right?
Oh, okay.
$11 billion to keep the border closed. Greg Abbott's nearly fought a goddamn civil war down here about it with the feds, right?
We're aware, yeah.
Right. Okay. Number two, tips. Dudes like Jamie Dimon, who make a, $5 million bonus, I think, last year, they love this idea of don't tax the tips, because that $5 million bonus falls under that wages, bonuses, and other compensation box. So old Jamie Dimon's like, woohoo, let's not pay that. And I don't blame him, right? Good for him. But it's going to really help like 2.5% of the working class. I put a little link in your thread. For the angry guy discussing the taxes that his parents are paying or whatever, they are not having to claim that entire profit, right? They're filling out something that's called a K-1, right? They have their own amount of money. That's my dog, my pit bull. That they have their own amount of money that they are claiming from that business. The rest of it, they get to write off the payroll tax, all that kind of shit, right? And I just want to mention that $2,600 for 4 kids and him and hopefully a wife sounds like a freaking deal for public education, the Environmental Protection Agency, the National Health Institute. I mean, that seems like a goddamn deal to me.
I think we agree with that, but I just want to be clear. So you're going to vote for Kamala Harris, right? You're just debunking some stuff?
For Donald Trump, I think we should enslave all women and not let them travel, not give them any goddamn health care. That's why I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Okay. Thank you for that. I mean, good troll. It's funny. But thank you, Mojo.
We're
going to remove you from the speaker. But good meme. Okay. We want disagreeers, guys. We want disagreeers, but very funny. Kirit Dada. You are Peace Matters, pro-USA, pro-Israel, pro-Ukraine, true leader of the country, cares for all, not just your favorite American. What are your thoughts on this? And let's try to keep it to domestic policy for now. We'll have one about foreign policy at some point.
I'm fine right now. Like, I just wanted to add a few comments, but you guys already clarified for other people on the space.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you very much. We have Ellis. My friend Ellis, not actually my friend. I don't know who this person is, but if you're able to hear us right now, why don't you give us your thoughts? You are a revolutionary Republican, former 2024 candidate for San Diego City Council, born and raised somewhere, because I just lost your thing. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the election? Why would you prefer Trump over Kamala on domestic policy?
Hey, what's going on with y'all? And excuse me, I'm actually outside right now. Hitting these doors. I think
Trump,
right now,
I assume, right?
Yeah,
okay.
For Trump. And so, well, not for Trump, but for a PAC that is trying to get Trump in there.
Oh,
but
right.
The thing is,
but for a pro-MAGA PAC.
No, not a pro-MAGA.
Pro-Republican, voting for Republican PAC.
Exactly. Okay. And so, and shout out to you and everybody that's in this space. Just real quickly, I think the woman was being sarcastic, if I'm not
she was
mistaken. Yeah, Republicans, we're not trying to enslave women. You know, I think we have a lot of, there's been a lot of fear mongering going on from the Democrat Party, which I think is kind of ironic because they always say that it's conservatives who do that, right? Or it's Republicans who do that. So it's just, I just want people to make a note of that. As far as Trump versus Kamala, if we're just going to talk about the character of the person, right? And we hear a lot about Trump's character, but we don't really dwell too much on what Kamala says and doesn't really actually do, right? You look at the thing that she put for Black Americans, right? Which I am, foundational Black American. She had a whole plan out there, dangling the carrot in our face. Then she turns around a few days later and she says, oh, no, it's open for all. For whatever reasons, it's the back and forth that people are fed up with the Democrat Party. Regardless of what the policies are, whether you like it or not, it's the back and forth. And they're not necessarily standing on business. They try to drag you to the line. And then once you get there, they tell you, oh, well, there's another 4 years. We're going to do this and that. We've seen that with Obama. And I think we're going to see that from Kamala. Now, even with Trump, you talk about the biggest issue that a lot of women and a lot of people don't like about Trump is the abortion issue, right? He left it to the states. I'm in California. I'm from California. You asked me where I was from. I'm actually from East Dago, City Heights. So if anybody from that area, shout out to them. But you look at the abortion issue, you can go to a state where you can get an abortion if that's what you want. If you want to live in a state where they don't have abortions, then that's up to the state. They say Texas may be turning blue. Get out there, vote, change your legislator.
What do you feel? What if somebody were to say the same thing about guns?
Get out there and vote and change your legislator. This is America.
Well, so like if the Supreme Court were to make a decision that like guns, like the Second Amendment is going to be interpreted more literally, more originally, more in line with its history, and it was just protecting states' rights to form militias, and then it let states regulate firearm laws, would you support that and say, well, if you want a gun, go to a different state?
Well, the reason that example doesn't necessarily hit as much as it should is because abortion is not an amendment. It's not.
Well, I mean, abortion was argued to have come from the Constitution before by a prior Supreme Court, right?
Yeah, but it's not one of your constitutional amendments, though. It's not,
neither is arguably an individual right to own a firearm isn't like really.
Yeah, you do have an individual right to self-defense.
No, there's nothing. Hold on. There's nothing in the Constitution about self-defense. So that's
You have
not
an
true.
individual right. Well, you have an individual right to bear arms.
Well, that was the court opinion interpreting the Second Amendment to be an individual right. That's what we're kind of saying is you can say that, yeah, well, this is an individual right. What Stephen, I think, is trying to say is it's not explicit in the text of the Second Amendment. It had to be interpreted by the DC versus Heller opinion. And similarly, right, like you could say that the abortional right is just, it's also a right that was interpreted by the Supreme Court.
How you guys doing
recently.
today? Are you guys registered to vote? Are y'all Kamala, huh?
Yeah, you can't be doing that while you're on the space.
Good
Okay?
job.
We're not going to be like second fiddle, all right?
Hey,
So
good
you
luck.
have like 2 seconds to get back on.
Hey, I'm sorry.
Hello,
about that,
Ellis.
brother. I ran into some.
Yeah, don't do that.
No, yeah, I ran it. Don't tell me what to do, brother. I don't even know you. But look, I ran into some
No, don't
Kamala
do that if
voters
you're on our
out
fucking
there.
space. Don't do that when you're on our
Hey.
space. We are having a conversation. If you have something better to do, you can do that.
Hey, look, check this out, brother.
Fair?
You don't know me. You don't tell me what or not to do. That's the problem with the
Yeah,
Democrats.
I'm
right
telling
now.
you,
You're trying to tell
don't
me
be
what
fucking
and what not to
distracted.
do.
Be engaged in the conversation.
Well, look,
I'm
watch
telling
your
you that.
mouth. Watch your
You
mouth.
watch your mouth, bro. You watch your mouth.
All right, you want an argument? Look. You want an argument?
I want an
We'll
argument.
take this off the app. Other than that, good
Whoa,
luck.
are you
Get out there
threatening me?
and register people to vote.
Are you threatening me? Like, this is the typical MAGA. You can't handle any bit of criticism. You go off the
No.
wagon and you start making
don't
physical threats.
I didn't like your
What
tone.
did I do
So I said, if you
to
got a problem
make
with
you
me,
give a
we can
physical
go
threat?
into a spaces. Look, we can go into a spaces and we can talk about this. But I'm done talking with you, brother. You came off your mic. Nobody was.
Got him. He said he's done, so he can be done. Bye.
You can be done.
Dipshit.
Cool. Let's invite the next MAGA. Let's see. Din, Jewish Israel building bridges in the Middle East. No, sorry. We'll save it for the foreign ball. Okay, he's a centrist, supposedly. Okay, we have a self-proclaimed centrist. Name of... Where are you at? I don't see you coming up, and I forgot your name. Adding another person. Swampists. You're back. Freedom. Okay, so let's start with Swampist. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing? Why are you going to vote for Trump domestically?
The main reason for me is that there's a good chance he'll be able to appoint upwards of 3 new Supreme Court justices, and I think that needs to be the priority of anybody who is even remotely conservative in this country, to make sure that we don't start going down a path of getting rid of some pretty primary things in the Constitution, like guns and free speech.
So because of not because of any policy other than the judiciary. I mean, sorry, that's the main reason, right? The judiciary?
Yeah, that's the main reason. I mean, there's other things,
Okay.
obviously. I think in general, that should be the number one deciding factor for anybody. But for me, that's the number one deciding factor.
Yeah. So I guess which Supreme Court opinions of late do you think you agree right now? Like the court's super conservative, fair, or at least it's super majority
conservative. Have a conservative court right now.
Okay, cool. So you're trying to prolong that and make it and prevent it from shifting back. Fair?
Correct.
Okay. Which of the recent opinions have you found that you agree with the most of this court?
I believe Roe versus Wade and the decision to make abortion a state level decision is probably one that I care about the most.
Okay. Because you're anti-abortion?
No, actually, I'm not anti-abortion. I'm probably pretty moderate, maybe even I'm pretty pro-choice. But I do think that federal decrees over something like human life or anything like that are unconstitutional.
Why are federal decrees over human life unconstitutional?
Because the idea that you could take a life constitutionally as a American citizen or as a human living in this country, as long as it's a baby or in the womb in utero, seems insane to me, because that that baby, that child
Seems
should
insane.
have
It's not a
some level.
constitutional provision. Seems insane. Is not a constitutional provision. Which part of the Constitution is violated by federal regulation about life?
What do you mean? I'm sorry, say that again?
What part? Yeah, so why would it be unconstitutional? I'm assuming you're talking about a federal abortion ban or a federal abortion,
Right.
a Roe v. Wade standard.
Right.
That you would like. That's both coming from Congress and the courts. You don't want to see that be decided federally. Fair?
No, absolutely not.
But why?
Because I believe the federal government legislating the legalization of infanticide essentially goes against the principles of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So you think a state government should be able to make infanticide legal?
Unfortunately, yes, I do.
Do you think a state government should be allowed to take away your guns?
No, because that is constitutionally protected.
But okay,
life is constitutionally protected.
Well, I don't even.
Sure, but murder and things like
life
that are not legislated. Like if you murder somebody, that's legislated by the state. That's not. You're adjudicated by the state. That's not a federal. I mean, there are federal murder charges,
but there's also federal.
Yeah,
there are federal murder charges that apply in the states.
Sure.
You think those are unconstitutional?
Federal murder
you don't
charge,
think that the DOJ should be charging
people, killing people is against the law.
I agree it's against the law, but it's against
federal statute on
depending
murder.
on the circumstance. It can be against. There is a federal statute on murder. Do you disagree with that?
It's not. That's not actually how federal statute is written. I think it's sort of beside the point. But yeah, I do not agree with a federal ban on abortion.
I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that we're clear about something. You agree that there's a federal murder statute on the books.
Here's what I just don't understand. Forget the federal murder statute. I don't understand why a state can't. If you're saying that the state can decide whether or not infanticide is okay, I don't know why a state can't decide to ban.
The same way that there's no single broad federal murder statute like there is in state.
Well, no, but I'm asking why couldn't a state say we want to outlaw pistols?
Because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land.
Sure, but the Constitution doesn't say that every individual can own a firearm, right? And the Bill of Rights only originally even applied to the federal government. So the idea that a state can't regulate their firearms, why would a state not be allowed to do that?
It's the supreme law of the land.
Sure, but the Constitution doesn't say that every individual can own a firearm, right?
True, that guy's right, based. Whoever just said that.
That is not, but that's not the point of what the Second Amendment says.
The point of the Second Amendment was for states to be able to independently manage their militias without the federal government infringing on it.
You can say that, but that's not true.
I'm sorry. The Bill of Rights was created to protect the rights of states against a newly forming federal government. No?
Well, to protect the rights of citizens, but sure.
No, not citizens.
No,
states.
It says Congress shall make no law.
Correct. Congress.
Right. The citizenship in that sense is the state, yes, but it's about citizens.
No.
States are not
the right to bear
citizens.
arms shall not be infringed upon by the federal government. That is a simple fact. That I don't understand what you're missing there.
Stephen is charting the historical sort of view of the Bill of Rights as being limitations on the exertion of federal authority, not limitations on state authority. That's what Stephen.
That's literally the whole Constitution. It's an enumerated powers, right? Anything not explicitly delegated to the federal government is left up to the states.
Right. Mainly, one of those is murder. Currently,
we're not talking about murder. I'm just saying that the Second Amendment was not written
talking about murder because I believe that the federal government.
I'm just saying the Second Amendment was not written to just think about what you're saying historically, right? Why would the states want to agree to an amendment that limits the rights of the states when they're being the whole point of the Bill of Rights, which wasn't even originally going to be part of that's why they're the first 10 amendments, right? The whole point of the Bill of Rights was to encourage states to join the federal union. Why would you in the Bill of Rights write something that would limit the individual authority of a state?
In what instance are you talking about?
And for firearms. I don't know why you wouldn't say if a state wants to ban pistols or rifles, the state should be allowed to do that. If you're all about states' rights, I don't know why you wouldn't just say a state could do that. Let's say if you voted for a governor and you're like, yeah, we should be able to ban pistols. If they can do infanticide, I don't know why you wouldn't allow them to just...
The Constitution also protects individual rights as well.
Based. Okay.
Perhaps a state government that's acting outside the Constitution.
Josiah, something's wrong. Something's wrong with the audio. Can you guys hear okay?
Something's wrong in here. It's not the audio.
Can you guys hear Josiah okay?
No, it's a little fucked.
Yep.
Fuck it.
You're on the wrong mic, maybe.
Yeah, you're on the wrong mic. I just want to say, like, what Stephen is trying to show you is that, and it is like a truth, the Second Amendment didn't apply as to the states until the 2010s. Okay, that was when, after Heller, there was a decision incorporating the Second Amendment to apply as against the states. That's a doctrine that says that under the 14th Amendment's due process clause related to liberty, right. Okay, because the due process clause of the 14th Amendment says that the states cannot infringe on, without due process of law against life, liberty, or property. That same clause, right, which is incorporating these rights as against the states, that's the source by which the Roe v. Wade decision came down initially. Was the same source. It's the substantive due process related to liberty and what that means. Yep. And what the opinions say in short terms is, like, when the 14th Amendment says liberty, they're including the liberties of the Bill of Rights, and that's applying as against the states. So it took the 14th Amendment and courts' interpretations of the 14th Amendment to give us these strong protections of individual liberties applying towards state governments. And that's essentially what Roe is. Right. Roe is an interpretation of that clause, liberty, a substantive due process clause, or argument that includes abortion. Now, you can agree or disagree, but
sure.
it seems
I think you're
odd to have this kind
correct.
of originalist mentality. Yeah, but like, you want substantive due process when it comes to gun rights. You don't want substantive due process when it comes to abortion, even though you're pro-choice.
Well, yeah, because the Constitution, if you're saying that liberty is, abortion is under liberty, I understand your argument, and I think reasonable people can disagree on that, but the Constitution in the Second Amendment specifically says firearms. And it has been interpreted time and time again that is a protection for the individual from any sort of state or federal law. Now, if your argument is just that abortion means freedom, I understand that argument. I think that argument.
Also, just to be clear, that interpretation of the Second Amendment comes from 2008. Okay, that's DC v. Heller. That's when they started to dramatically interpret it as being like an individual's right to keep and bear arms.
Why is that? Why is it relevant when that interpretation happened?
Because that was after the interpretations of Roe v. Wade and KCV Planned Parenthood. So it seems strange that you would hang your hat on this.
But I'm not saying that they're related to each other.
True.
You brought up guns. I'm just giving you an example.
True. Absolutely true.
Is my mic still fucked?
Yeah, you're using the wrong mic, you cuck. Got him.
Sounds good to me, but
see, okay.
No, but I think ultimately, like, I think reasonable people can debate about. Obviously, I also think the border is pretty important.
Wait a minute. Can we just go back to it? Just hang on. Just sure. One thing. Just a second. So you said that the Second Amendment protects the right to own firearms from any state or federal law? Like, you don't support gun control at all?
Sure. I truly think that gun control is mainly a punitive measure for law-abiding citizens.
Yeah.
Wait. But, that's not what was asked of you.
Yeah, just to be clear, you think that the Constitution prohibits any gun control measure. There is no gun control law which is constitutional in your view.
I think that argument can be made. I don't personally agree with that, but I do generally think that is yes.
Interesting.
Any follow-up there, Josiah?
Well, no, I mean, like, obviously that's not the case. The DC versus Heller decision in 2008 by the Supreme Court, conservative Supreme Court, Antonin Scalia, said that, of course, the Second Amendment is subject to reasonable restrictions. There's no such thing as an absolute right in this country. There is no such thing. Like, you talked about the right to life, and I was just kind of stunned. You seem to believe that the Constitution does and should afford more rights to own a firearm than to live. Your right to life in this country is not absolute, which is why you're subject to the death penalty, both federally and in certain states as well. So I'm just
you can absolutely sacrifice your right to life. Obviously, that's what we've decided through the courts over hundreds of years.
And you can sacrifice your right to guns.
Right. Absolutely. Right? I mean, that being a felon, anything like that.
What's being told you by Josiah is all of these rights are not absolute, and no one has ever interpreted them to be.
Well, no, they are not absolute insofar that
First Amendment.
This is the point. Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. They are not absolute insofar that you have a Supreme Court that might support another interpretation. which is why I would never want another liberal president in the next 5 to 10 years, because they will pack the court with leftist people that absolutely will not support your right to own firearms.
Are there any other
that's just not the
rights that
case.
you
I mean,
support? I'm just curious. Well, hang on. Like, just out of curiosity, are there any other? You're very enthusiastic about the absolute right to own a firearm. What about an absolute right to life? Would you support justices, banning the constitutionality of the death penalty? Do you support the death penalty, or do you think it should be struck down?
I support the death penalty, but I believe that there. But I, hold on, no. I believe in the death penalty, but I also agree that there's totally an interpretation in the Constitution to be made that the death penalty is wrong or unconstitutional, 100%. But again, this is why we actually want Supreme Court justices and lower level judges. This is another thing why I support Trump, because he actually places judges really well.
Okay, I'm going to stop asking you questions. I'm